Well, dCAD can also be used as a graphic designer's tool. Let's imagine you were trying to do a graphic for a psychologist who was running some sort of leadership program, and he wanted to show that different people see themselves differently when one is talking about or analysing their own leadership potential. And you might have a visual analog scale like the one down at the bottom running from 0 to 10. Let's just fix up this 0 here. I copied it so we can select it and go to Properties, click in here and just change that to 10. So what we're doing is editing the properties of that piece of text. So now we have our scale done. But if you want to suggest that leaders see themselves and potential leaders see themselves near the top end of this scale, we might look for a sort of powerful figure. We might pick someone like this particular lady here. Now you can right click and copy and just mark a point on the object and move that person into position. Or you can, let's pick another powerful looking character. Here's a male. You don't have to even right click. If you click on the bottom left handle, that little blue handle there, and move them down, you don't even have to know commands. So we're saying these two powerful people, I'm hitting the escape key when I select an object. See how it goes magenta, hit the escape key and it disappears. You'll notice in fact that these figures here look a little different to the ones we've just put in place. That's because I've put them on a different layer and I've associated a different color and a different pen weight to that. So let's put these two on that very same layer. We select both of them with the left button of the mouse, right click and go to Properties, and you notice up here Layer, click, find the down arrow there and put them onto a layer that I've called Predict. And now when we hit the escape key, we have that sort of grayed out color and a slightly thicker line. But I digress. So here's our little symbol that can be used in any sort of program. You could print from here, print a PDF file if you like, and then place it into a PowerPoint presentation. What I'm trying to illustrate here is that dCAD can be used as a pretty powerful tool. If you wanted to go further, you could zoom in on these two putative, powerful figures who are already CEOs of their companies and see themselves as very fine leaders. We could say, well, we'll dress them in a powerful color. So I've set my drawing color to red. You could choose any color you want. And then I go Draw and Hatch. And one of the options here is to pick points. So I can just, we'll give them the same coat. So I can click here. That's going to become red. That'll become red, as would this and there. So we've got her coat's going to be colored red. Let's get this gentleman's jacket, which I've now selected. Once they're all highlighted, the zones are highlighted, right click and say we'll have a solid hatch pattern. You can have different patterns, but we'll go OK, and now we'll zoom out. So now we've got a solid color there. So you could pretty things up by saying these two sort of mousy looking characters who don't see themselves as having good leadership material, well, we'll give them some sort of mousy brown color. We'll go something like that, and we'll go Draw and Hatch. Do the same thing. Pick points. We'll give them the same color at the top, and we'll OK that. So now when we zoom out, there are our figures. So to print, it's just a matter of File and Print. I like to set up and change to a PDF printer, which if you go to Qt PDF's website, you can install a free one. And in landscape view, that's OK, we've set the printer. Then I'll pick a zone, a window to print. I'll say I'll print everything inside that box, and I'll preview it. And there is our nice little graphic showing the colors that we've just put on. We haven't colored any of these yet, but I hope you'll agree that if we print that, that can become a graphic. I think the contrast between the black of the scale and the figures is a little too great, so we could simply change the color of the layer there and improve the graphic. But you don't have to, that's the whole zone. Let's hit the escape key. If we said window and pick, and we just did say, that zone through there and preview it, you can see we now have larger figures. So whatever you choose, whatever zone you choose, you can then print and then place that into other applications. So dCAD can be a reasonable graphic design tool. Well, although it's easy to print and you'd want to do that from time to time, very often all you want is to take this graphic image and pop it into something like PowerPoint. Let's see how easy it is to do that. You just right-click, go to Options, and go to Display, and down to the Color Palette. What I'm going to do is set the Color Palette to white, so I'll say Close, and I'll OK it over here. I've just turned my background to white, which is going to be much more useful. If we move this into PowerPoint, it'll have a white background. What we'll then do, if you had Windows 7 running, go to your Start button, click on All Programs, and I hope you know that if you click Accessories, there's a really useful tool called a snipping tool, and it pops up, and it being Windows 7 just tells you to drag the cursor around the area you want to capture. So we want to capture this area through here, and we're done. Now we can minimize that, go down to PowerPoint, and we'll put a new slide in. So a new slide. You can see from that previous one that I've already rehearsed this. And we click in here, right click, and paste a picture. In goes our picture, and we can simply size it as we need to. And there's our picture sitting pretty much the way we want it on the PowerPoint presentation. I'm just fine-tuning and moving things around. So there's the image that we created in dCAD, popped it now into a PowerPoint presentation. If we press F5 now, we'll get a view of what the slide's going to look like on the screen, and that will, with some accompanying text, will do the job rather nicely.